Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving deep into something that really touches everyone. Self-renewal and, finding that authentic balance in a world that just constantly demands more. We're drawing our insights from Cheryl Richardson's New York Times bestseller, Take Time for Your Life, A Guide to Self-Renewal. Our mission for this deep dive is to, truly understand how achieving meaningful success doesn't have to be a trade-off for your well-being. We'll explore actionable strategies you can use to reclaim your most precious resources, your time and energy, leading, hopefully, to a more intentional, joyful, and ultimately more successful life.
Absolutely. And what's truly compelling about Richardson's approach, I think, is her own journey. She personally wrestled with the very challenges she addresses in this book. An endless work schedule, relationship missteps, neglecting her own health. She didn't just theorize about self-renewal, she lived it.
Yeah.
She used the very processes she outlines to actually transform her own life. So this isn't just abstract advice, it's more like a proven roadmap for building achievements on a really rock-solid foundation of physical, emotional, and spiritual health. She gets it because she's been there.
Right. And her book opens by painting this picture that so many of us instantly recognize. That feeling of being perpetually rushed, constantly wishing for more time, more joy, maybe a deeper sense of authenticity. It's that urgent, almost desperate feeling of needing to step off the treadmill.
Hmm.
She then identifies a handful of common obstacles that keep us kind of tethered to this frantic pace. What are these barriers she talks about, the ones preventing people from living a truly full life?
Yeah, she pinpoints 7 distinct obstacles she saw again and again in her clients, and wow, they resonate powerfully when you hear them. First, there's a struggle to put oneself first. Personal needs consistently end up at the bottom of the pile.
Mm,
Second, this glaring disconnect between what people say their priorities are and where their time actually goes.
oh, definitely see that.
Third, feeling utterly drained by specific people or situations or commitments that just suck their energy dry. Fourth, that pervasive feeling of being trapped, often, due to financial burdens that limit choices and add huge stress.
Right.
Fifth, living in a constant state of overstimulation, just a relentless barrage of information and demands. Sixth, a profound lack of genuine community support, which leaves people feeling pretty isolated. And finally, number 7, a neglect of their spiritual lives. This can lead to a sense of emptiness or disconnection, maybe a lack of purpose beyond just the daily grind.
It's incredible how those 7 points just hit home for so many people, it feels like.
Mm.
There's this deeply ingrained belief in our culture that to get ahead or even just to keep pace, we must work endless hours, sacrifice personal time, push ourselves to the absolute brink. But Richardson just boldly calls this a myth. She says constant sacrifice is not a prerequisite for success. And that's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Indeed. Yeah. She provides powerful evidence that even small, consistent daily shifts can create really profound change. She shares the story of a client I remember who initially resisted leaving work at 5:30 p.m. each day. She was terrified her business would collapse.
Yeah, you can imagine.
But to her surprise, it didn't. In fact, she maintained her effectiveness, maybe even improved it because she started focusing more intently during work hours and, crucially, delegating tasks more efficiently.
Delegation.
Ah.
Key.
Exactly. And this example just perfectly illustrates Richardson's core philosophy,
Hmm.
that true productivity and success don't come from endless hours, but from conscious self-management of time and that crucial practice of self-renewal. It's precisely what Stephen Covey famously called sharpening the saw.
Right, sharpening the saw.
That vital idea that you have to regularly invest in yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, to maintain and enhance your capacity for work and life.
Mhm.
If you neglect this vital self-care, your productivity dulls, your connections suffer.
Mm.
And frankly, those around you are negatively affected because you're depleted. It becomes this vicious cycle. Depletion leads to less effectiveness, which makes it even harder to carve out that essential time for renewal.
Okay, so if we recognize ourselves in those 7 obstacles, if we feel out of balance, stuck on that treadmill, but what's Richardson's first practical, concrete step? Something someone can do right now if they're ready to reclaim their life. You mentioned she suggests creating an absolute yes list. It sounds simple, but I get the sense there's real depth there.
Oh, absolutely. It raises this fundamental question about how intentional your priorities truly are. And absolute yes list isn't just like ranking tasks. It's a profound act of self-authorship, a conscious design of your life. It challenges you to identify those non-negotiable elements, maybe personal growth, relationships, creative time, quiet reflection things that, if they're consistently sidelined, would lead to deep misalignment and, honestly, regret.
Okay.
It's really about building your life around your core values rather than just reactively responding to whatever pops up. Richardson illustrates this beautifully with her client, Joan, who was feeling totally overwhelmed, fragmented. Joan reorganized her entire daily structure around her absolute yes list at the very top. Things like reading, meditation, or exercise.
Okay, self-care first.
Exactly. Then second, dedicated time with her husband. After that, quality time with her child, followed by studying for her degree, time with friends, and then finally housework. Notice her life's components didn't really vanish.
Right. The stuff was still there.
Right. Only the order of priorities shifted. And the result, apparently her mood soared. She felt this significantly greater sense of harmony, control, and just joy. It's a powerful demonstration, isn't it? How reshaping your internal landscape, your priorities, can create a massive external impact.
That is such a powerful shift, just from reordering. It's not about adding more to an already overflowing plate, which is often what we think we need to do. It's more about reevaluating what's already there and putting it in its rightful, most important place. The real gift of this book, I think, packed with all those self-care ideas, is that realization that you don't have to be perpetually rushed by circumstance. You really can take control simply by deciding to be more intentional, maybe using those 7 common obstacles we talked about as a kind of launch pad for actively taking back your life. It feels like shifting from reactive to proactive living.
Exactly, that proactive stance. And that's where the next section of the book, called A Few Experiences, really shines. It moves beyond just identifying problems and offers these very practical, sometimes counterintuitive tips for injecting self-renewal right into your daily routine.
Yeah, I love that section. It's full of those aha moments, those little shifts. Can you share some of those maybe surprising nuggets of wisdom Richardson offers, especially the ones that kind of challenge our typical ideas about productivity or self-care?
Sure. What's really fascinating here is how deceptively simple some of these actions seem, but how profound their potential impact can be on your overall well-being and, yes, your effectiveness. Okay, one key idea is that dead time is not just okay, but actually essential for clarity.
Time, doing nothing.
Pretty much. Initially, the idea of doing nothing might feel really uncomfortable, maybe even anxiety-inducing in our always-on culture. But Richardson wisely says, we all need a vacation from overthinking. This quiet time isn't just passive rest, it's active incubation. See, when our brains aren't constantly stimulated, they shift into this diffuse mode of thinking, allowing for novel connections, maybe breakthrough insights that focused, busy work often just hides.
So that unproductive space is actually where creativity happens.
Often, yes. That's where clarity can emerge. Another counterintuitive tip she offers: pay others for services you usually do yourself.
Outsourcing chores.
Well, yeah, but it's not about being lazy. It's about valuing your own unique high-leverage time. Richardson frames it as sharing the wealth. It allows you to free up your most valuable resource, your time and energy, for activities that truly fuel your purpose and let you operate at a higher level. By delegating tasks that don't directly contribute to your core purpose or well-being, you're not just buying convenience. You're strategically investing in your own capacity to operate at your highest potential. This can lead to a much greater return on your personal energy and overall success.
That makes sense. Investing in yourself by buying back time.
Exactly. She also strongly advocates for clearing out old tools, papers, literally tossing them.
Decluttering.
Yeah, but it's more than just tidying up, though that's a benefit. It's a powerful metaphor for clearing mental and emotional clutter, too. When you release what no longer serves you, old projects, outdated beliefs, even physical stuff with heavy memories, you symbolically and practically clear the path for what you truly want to move toward. You create space for new opportunities, fresh energy. It's like a tangible act of readiness for growth.
Okay, letting go of the old to make space for the new.
Right. And Richardson also gently but firmly encourages us, don't fret about working a bit less.
Easier said than done.
True. But it challenges that more hours equals more success fallacy. The world, she argues, actually has a way of rewarding those who focus intensely and make better use of their time rather than just clocking endless hours. It's about quality over sheer quantity. Strategic efficiency, not brute force.
Focus and effectiveness.
And perhaps one of the most critical ones, identify what drains your life. This means consciously pinpointing specific people, places, situations that just consume your mental and physical energy. Eliminating or significantly reducing their impact isn't selfish. She argues it's absolutely vital for an abundant, successful life. You simply can't fill your cup if it's constantly being drained by external forces.
Wow, that's a really comprehensive list. And it absolutely highlights how self-renewal isn't just about, massages or meditation, though those can be part of it. It's really about intentional living and strategic self-management.
Mm.
Now, one area that often feels like it has to be a perpetual drain is finances. Money stress is huge for so many. Richardson, with her background as a financial advisor, dedicates a whole chapter to this, which I found really insightful. How does she connect financial health to this broader idea of self-renewal and well-being?
That's a great question, and it touches on something deep. How do our, deeply ingrained attitudes and maybe past experiences with money potentially block our well-being and sense of freedom? Richardson, drawing on her expertise, does this unique blend of practical financial skills with a more profound, intentional attitude toward money. Her point, essentially, is that once you decide to take greater proactive responsibility for your finances, things like consistently paying bills on time, actively working to clear debt, maintaining clear, organized spending accounts, money almost miraculously stops being this perpetual source of worry. Yeah. It starts to transform from being a burden into being a tool that flows more freely in your life. It empowers your choices instead of restricting them. And she powerfully challenges a common myth, especially among creative types, that creative people shouldn't have to worry about material finances.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Right. She asserts pretty convincingly that you can absolutely possess both spiritual and material wealth, and in fact, they can actually reinforce each other. She even points readers to other influential authors, Catherine Ponder, Thomas Stanley, Robert Kiyosaki, to help understand this often overlooked value of integrating financial health into holistic self-care. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it's about recognizing that financial stress can severely block your ability to live a balanced, renewed life. Taking control of your finances is actually a crucial act of self-love and self-empowerment.
Okay, so bringing it all together then, what does this mean for the bigger picture of success? The book puts a lot of emphasis on cultivating a strong spirit, and it defines spiritual in this remarkably accessible way, not necessarily religious, but as that profound feeling of peace that settles over you when you pause, reflect, and reconnect with what truly matters. That inner calm and sense of purpose.
Exactly. And this leads to a crucial, often overlooked realization. Genuine success isn't, and really shouldn't be, pursued at any cost.
Hmm.
You don't want to achieve professional milestones if it means sacrificing your health, neglecting loved ones, or completely draining all your personal time and energy. That's not success.
No, that's burnout.
Precisely. It's strikingly similar, actually, to George Clayson's message in The Richest Man in Babylon about financial security. When you earn money, you must pay yourself first.
Hmm.
Richardson's principle of self-care operates on that same profound level. It fundamentally empowers you to create a priority order for both your work and your life. It ensures you're consistently investing in your own well-being, your own absolute yes list. If you neglect this, you'll inevitably find yourself becoming just a reflection of others' desires and demands, instead of living a life aligned with your own authentic self and deepest values.
Losing yourself in the process.
Yeah, her core message is really clear. No matter how intense the external pressures get, don't forget who you are, what truly nourishes you, and what you genuinely want to do with your one life. And the book itself, with its practical lists, tons of actionable ideas, and this remarkably warm, friendly tone, it really equips you, I think, to embrace the self-discipline it advocates for.
It does feel almost like having a really supportive coach in your ear. Not someone dictating, but someone helping you identify and consciously put into place the elements of success and fulfillment that are maybe already within you. They're just waiting to be prioritized and acted upon. It's not about seeking something external, but recognizing and leveraging the power you already possess to design your own life. This deep dive into take time for your life has really illuminated how success isn't just about what you achieve, but crucially, how you achieve it. It's about putting self-care, intentionality, and your core values front and center.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really about reclaiming your inner compass, living a life that authentically aligns with your deepest purpose and well-being. So for you listening right now, what's maybe one small intentional change you could implement today? Something to start sharpening your saw or to create an absolute yes moment for yourself. The elements of success, as Richardson suggests, are often already within your grasp. You just need to identify them and, well, bravely put them into action.